Hello everybody. Today we are going to start with a new unit, which is space exploration. It's a very interesting unit. You're gonna enjoy the lesson, which is really nice. And the whole theme is very interesting and very attractive. First of all, let's have a look at the pictures here. As you can see, we can see a rocket, we can see the astronauts, we can see spacecrafts. All of these are related to space explorations, to finding out what do we have in space, what is there in space. Okay, so this is what are we going to discuss today. Why do people explore space? Let's see. I want you to watch this video, and of course, please take notes, okay? Just to tell me why is exploring space something important and how is it beneficial.
Space, humanity's final frontier. From the humble invention of the Wright brothers glider to the moon landing less than 70 years later, technology has come a long way. However, there is still so much about space we just don't know about yet. But how did space travel and exploration all begin? After the Second World War, the United States and the Soviet Union wanted to display their prowess by reaching for the stars. Both superpowers were able to successfully launch rockets, satellites, and even animals into orbit. In 1961, the Soviet Union was the first to put a man in space, Yuri Gagarin. Not to be outdone, the United States soon trumped the Soviet Union's crowning achievement. In 1969, Apollo 11 successfully landed on the Moon. Not just content with the Moon, both superpowers also wanted to explore the rest of the solar system. Unmanned probes were sent to visit the solar system's other planets and moons. The most successful of these, Voyagers 1 and 2, were launched in 1977. Together, these two probes have done flybys of Jupiter and Saturn, Uranus and Neptune. Back on Earth, the Russians proved that humans could live in space for months at a time, sending a number of space stations into orbit during the 70s and 80s. These culminated with the launch of Mir in 1986, which continued to operate until 1998. On that same year, the International Space Station was launched, where it continues to operate to this day. Scientists also wanted to bring space materials back to Earth without having to send astronauts. In 2003, the Japanese Hayabusa spacecraft was launched on a mission to collect samples from a near-Earth asteroid. It returned 7 years later, landing in South Australia. In its payload were a small number of particles collected from the asteroid itself. Not to be forgotten, Mars was also the final destination for a number of unmanned rovers sent by the US and Russia. The most recognizable of these, NASA's Curiosity, successfully landed in late 2012, where it continues to find evidence of whether life was once possible on the red planet. So where will space exploration go to from here?
So as you can see here, they told us about some of the explorations, especially about Mars and if life was found on Mars. This is what we are going to talk about today. So let's check out our lesson. So what is space exploration? As a definition, space exploration is the physical exploration of outer space, both by human safe space flights and by robotic spacecraft. Why do we explore? There are many reasons why we explore space. The most important thing is to make scientific discoveries, finding for a new place to live on, improving or understanding life in human body, space, and so on. So there are many reasons why scientists explore space. First of all, we are going to start with the objectives. We are going to identify the concept of space exploration, define space exploration, identify the achievements of space exploration. Objective 2 is related to our comprehension skill, organizing events in chronological order. And objective 3 is related to vocabulary. We have to figure out the meanings of unfamiliar words using context clues. And the last objective, we have to answer different referential and inferential questions related to the text, demonstrate critical understanding of the text through answering different discussion and critical thinking to Earth. Before we start with the lesson, of course, we are going to start with our comprehension skill, which is chronological order or time order, okay? This skill is related to organizing the events in order from the beginning to the end. So the author organizes the events in the story or the steps in a process in order in which that occur. The sequence of events helps the reader understand the story. Okay? What happened first, what happened next, and what happened then, what happened at the end. Some of the transitions that are used in sequence of events are first, next, then, while, after that, until, now, moreover, when. We can use dates, we can use years, okay? So mostly these are some of the transitions that might be used in chronological order, and this skill is related to organizing the events in a story or the steps in a process in order. Let's start solving the first exercise. Read the paragraph below, then number the events in the correct order. Making orange juice concentrate from fresh oranges is done entirely by machines. First, so when you see the word first, this means that this is the first event. So first, oranges are dumped into a moving belt. They travel into a machine which washes them with detergent. Next, this is event number 2. They are rolled into juicing machines where 700 oranges per minute are split and squeezed. Then, this is event number 3. The rinds or the skin of the oranges are thrown out the end of a long tube. At the same time, this is also a new event. The juice goes through small holes in the bottom of the tube. Next, the juice goes into another machine called the finisher. There, the seeds and other tiny objects are removed. Last, the juice goes into large tanks where most of the water is removed. So we have to number the events. The first thing that happens, oranges are dumped into a moving belt. So this is number 1. Number 2, they are rolled into juicing machines. Number 3, the rinds are thrown. Number 4, the juice goes through small holes. Number 5, the juice goes into another machine called the finisher. And at the end, event number 6, the juice goes into large tanks. So this is the way you number the events, as you can see here, and the rest are here, the 3 events that are left. Now, we are going to solve another exercise, but in a different way. How in a different way? Let's see. Read the below paragraph, then fill in the flow chart. There's something very important called a flow chart in which you fill the events in order. Let's see. Let's read the text. Soccer is a game that has been played for numerous years. In fact, many people believe that it began in England over 800 years ago. About 200 years ago, in the early 1800s, boys in England played a sport like soccer, but they called it football. However, each school made up their own rules. In 1963, a group of players met and wrote official rules for soccer. Soccer started spreading to other countries. In 1904, this is the third event, an international group called FIFA formed to make sure that every team around the world followed the same soccer rules. Today is also an event. Soccer is one of the most popular sports in the world. So if I ask you what happened in the 1800s, in the 1800s, boys in England played a sport like soccer, but they called it football. In 1863, a group of players met and wrote official rules for soccer. In 1904, an international group called FIFA formed to make sure that every team around the world followed the same soccer rules. Today, which is nowadays, soccer is one of the most popular sports game in the world.